Good day, everyone. Our presentation is all about racial discrimination. Position: racial discrimination should stop.
It is clear that discrimination based on race is unlawful, and that it violates fundamental human rights, fairness, and equality. Every person has the right to be treated fairly, with humanity, and with respect, regardless of their color or region. Racial discrimination damages the fabric of a just and inclusive society, in addition to immediate harm to the victims.
Kaiser Family Foundation polls shows that 71% of Black Americans have experienced racial discrimination or mistreatment, with 48 of feelings that their life was in danger due to their race.
Asians hate. According to the latest study by the Pew Research Center, 57 of Asian adults see discrimination in the US as a major problem, and 63% says too little attention is paid to the race and racial issues concerning Asian Americans. For instance, the 2017 EU Minorities and Discrimination Survey found that, on average, in 1 of 3 Muslims, respondents face discrimination and prejudice in the previous 12 months, and 27% experienced a racist crime. Based on the data that we gathered, racial discrimination is a deeply concerning issue that has negative impact on individuals, communities, and social as a whole. It perpetuates inequality, fosters divisions, and undermines the principles of fairness and justice. It is important for individuals, communities, and institutions to actively work towards creating a more inclusive and equal society.
What is racial discrimination? Racial discrimination is a global problem. It affects human rights, especially those who experience it. Racism is the discrimination and prejudice of individuals or communities who experience dishonor because of their color or race. There's a lot of articles, documentaries, and news about racism, and most of them were about how brutality happened back then until nowadays. Racial discrimination refers to the unjust or prejudicial treatment of individuals or groups based on their race or ethnicity. It involves treating people unfavorably or denying them opportunities, rights, or privilege because of their race. Racism adapts and changes over time and can impact different communities in different ways, with racism towards different groups intensifying in different historical moments. An example of this is the spike in racism towards Black people, Asians, and Muslims.
Discrimination based on color of skin, referred to as colorism, is a form of prejudice or bias in which people are treated differently based on the shade of color of their skin. Colorism can occur within the same racial or ethnic group and is not limited to interaction between different racial groups. Racism started when Civil War ended in 1865 because they enforced the Black Codes, which leads of separation of civil rights between white and black people. The Black Code restricted black people's right to own property, conduct business, buy and lease land, and move freely through public spaces. Racism generally includes negative emotional reaction to member of the group, acceptance of negative stereotypes, severely restriction of black rights, and racial discrimination against individuals. In some cases, it leads to violence and brutality.
Black people don't get treated with the same respect and fairness like the other people. The community of black people starts a propaganda that promotes fairness and respect. Black Lives Matter began in July 2013 as a response of black people to the racial injustice, police brutality, and systematic racism in the United States. They start to protest. Other artists create songs, artworks, and do social media campaigns to help them to notice the world what is going on to the black community. The hashtag Black Lives Matter gained national attention in 2013. The movement has protested against police action and prisoner deaths.
Current cases about color discrimination is David George Perry Floyd Jr., an African-American man, was killed by police officer in 2020. He was arrested after a store clerk suspected Floyd of using fake bills of $20. Floyd was killed by Derek Chauvin, who knelt on his neck and back for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, causing him to lose oxygen. Protests against police brutality, particularly against black people, erupt worldwide after his death, with Floyd's last phrases becoming a slogan.
Second, let's talk about ethnic discrimination. Ethnic discrimination refers to the unfair or prejudiced treatment of individuals or groups based on their ethnic background. Ethnicity refers to the shared cultural traits such as language, heritage, ancestry, and often a common geographical origin. Discrimination based on ethnicity can manifest in various forms and contexts. One of the examples who experience discrimination by their ethnic, which is Islam or Muslim. Islamophobia refers to the irritational fear, hatred, or prejudice against Islam and Muslims. It manifests itself in various forms, including discrimination, stereotypes, verbal abuse, physical attacks, and exclusionary policies targeting individuals or communities based on their Islamic faith. Islamophobia has deep historical roots, but as a term, it gained prominence in the late 20th century. The increased visibility of Islam and Muslims in Western societies, particularly after events like the Iranian Revolution in 1979 and the 9/11 attacks in 2001, contributed to the rise of Islamophobia. However, negative perceptions of Islam and prejudice against Muslims can be traced back centuries, influenced by historical events and cultural differences. Many cases of Islamophobia happens around the world. Melee attacks, bombing, stabbing, shooting, vehicular attack, arson, and vandalism. Date: March 1970 to January 1972. Location: Mindanao. Type: shooting, stabbings, and arson. Details: the Ilaga committed 22 massacres resulting in the deaths of hundreds of Muslim civilians. Date: on June 19, 1971. Location: Carmen. Type: shooting. Details: Manili Massacre. Moro Muslims were massacred inside a mosque in Manili. Date: on October 24, 1971. Location: in Magsaysay. Type is shooting. Details: Takub Massacre. Maranao Muslims were summarily executed at a military checkpoint in Takub. Date: September 24, 1974. Location: in Palimbang. Type is shooting. Details: Malisbong Massacre. The Malisbong Massacre was the mass murder of Muslim Moros on September 24, 1974 in the coastal village of Malisbong in Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat, Mindanao. They create organizations and many institutions, such as the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe's Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights. Some aim to exploit fear for political gain, while others may have ideological or cultural biases. Counteracting Islamophobia involves promoting education, intercultural understanding, and challenging stereotypes. Various organizations and individuals work toward fostering tolerance and dismantling prejudice narratives to create a more inclusive society.
Race discrimination refers to unjust and prejudiced treatment of individuals or groups based on their race. Race typically refers to categories of people who share similar physical traits such as skin color, hair texture, and facial features. The term Asian hate refers to the rise in acts of discrimination, prejudice, and violence direct towards individuals of Asian descent. This issue has gained increased attention in various parts of the world, and it's a serious concern that requires collective effort to address.
The COVID-19 pandemic, which is the first reported in the city of Wuhan, in the Hubei province of China, has led to perceived increase in racism against Asian and Asian Americans.
According to the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism at California State University, San Bernardino, and Stop AAPI Hate, there has been an increase in crime rates against Asians since 2019. For instance, the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism report that hate crimes against Asians increased by 150% in 2020. And Stop AAPI Hate received 3,795 discriminatory incident reports in the first year of pandemic. Research from the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism further found that anti-Asian hate crimes rose by 339% in year 2021 when compared to year 2020. Stop Asian Hate is a slogan promoting protests and rallies against violence against Asian Americans and other in the United States in response to COVID-19 racial discrimination. Stop Asian Hate is a part of a broader global movement against racial discrimination and serve as a reminder of the importance of actively addressing and combating prejudice in all its forms.
Miss Universe 2020 was the 69th Miss Universe pageant, held at the seminal Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, United States, on May 16, 2021. The Miss Universe organization, or MUO, is a global, inclusive platform celebrating diverse cultures, backgrounds, and religions, providing a safe space for women to share their stories and inspires, lead, and serve as role models globally. Miss Singapore Bernadette Bella Ong used the competition to spread and encourage all people around the world to stop hating Asians. Her national costume attracts more attention globally.
Cause of racial discrimination, historical factors. Prejudice and stereotypes has been molded by historical events such as slavery, colonization, and institutionalized racism because of their enduring impacts. Socialization. Through socialization, the generational transfer of culture norms and prejudice from one's family, classmate, and communities. Economic inequality. Economic inequality tends to be a result of racial discrimination and is sustained by past disadvantage, leaving gaps and sustaining social inequality. Fear and ignorance. Discriminatory attitude and action can result from fear, ignorance, and lack of exposure to different racial or ethnic groups. Stereotyping. Prejudice and presumption about particular racial or ethnic groups can be reinforced by stereotyping, a kind of discrimination that can be found in literature, the media, and popular culture. Power dynamic. Power inequities in which the powerful discriminate against marginalized groups using their position of authority are usually connected to racial discrimination.
Effects of racial discrimination. Psychological impact. Psychological suffering, including stress, anxiety, sadness, and lower sense of self-worth, can result from racial prejudice. Social exclusion. Social exclusion resulting from discrimination can limit individuals from engaging in their communities and create feelings of detachment and loneliness.
Economic disparities. Economic inequality results from racial discrimination, which limits some racial or ethnic group access to fair salaries, work opportunities, and education. Health disparities. There is a connection between discrimination and health disparities because those who are discriminated against may be more stressed out, which can be negative effect on their physical health. Intergroup tension. A society may become divided rather than united as a result of racial discrimination, ability to cause intergroup tension and conflict.
Addressing racial discrimination requires multifaceted approaches, including legal measures, education, awareness campaigns, and efforts to dismantle systematic racism. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Provision of this Civil Rights Act forbade discrimination on the basis of sex as well as race in hiring, promoting, and firing. The Racial Discrimination Act 1975 makes it unlawful to discriminate against a person because of his or her race, color, descent, national origin or ethnic origin, or immigrant status. The RDA protects people from racial discrimination in many areas of public life, including employment, education, getting or using services, renting or buying a house or unit, and accessing public places.
Ending racial discrimination is of paramount importance for numerous reasons, as it has profound and far-reaching effects on individuals, communities, and society as a whole. Here are some key reasons highlighting the importance of ending racial discrimination. Human rights and equality. Human rights promote equality and dignity for all individuals regardless of race or ethnicity by ending racial discrimination and upholding fundamental principles of human rights. Social justice. Racial discrimination leads to systematic inequalities in education, employment, healthcare, and criminal justice, necessitating the elimination of such discrimination for social justice. Community well-being. Discrimination leads to division and tension within communities, affecting social cohesion. Addressing racial discrimination fosters unity, understanding, and cooperation among diverse groups, promoting healthier and more resilient communities.
Economic benefits. Addressing racial discrimination can unlock diverse talents, skill, and perspectives, promoting economic growth. Mental health. Ending racial discrimination can promote mental health by preventing negative outcomes like stress, anxiety, despair, and low self-worth. Crime reduction. Addressing racial discrimination can reduce crime by building trust between communities and law enforcement, potentially reducing tension and fostering safer neighborhoods.
In summary, ending racial discrimination is crucial for creating a just, equitable, and harmonious society. It promotes human rights, social justice, economic prosperity, mental well-being, and global cooperation. It is collective responsibility that requires sustained effort at the individual, institution, and societal levels.